Now you need to start thinking about placement, where you're putting things in your landscape drawing. So you're going to kind of think, well, what would go in a landscape? Things that go outside would make the most sense. So let's say I want to start with some trees. So if I put one here, like I'm just going to put a line as like the placeholder, but then I'm going to turn that line into a tree trunk. So I'm going to fill it in as I add it in there. And most trees I've seen, they kind of spread out at the base there. But you'll notice I've placed this tree low. So placing it low and making it big means I'm using two of those tricks artists do to show depth and show that there's things that are near and far in a landscape. So what's happening is I've made this tree big, so it seems close to me. I've placed it low, which also makes it seem close to me. I can't sit here and tell you guys how many tree branches to put on there, because trees have a different number of branches. But when you do another one, you want to think about, well, how can I show that illusion of depth? How can I show that space? This tree appears it's in the foreground because I placed it low and I made it larger. If I put one here, a lot of people might think, oh, it's a little baby tree. Needs some water. No, I'm making this one seem like it's in the background. So one is in the foreground, one is in the background. So the things I've done here are the same two tricks, placement and size. I placed it higher, closer to the horizon line, and I made it smaller, which makes it seem like it's further away. If we could pull this tree out of the ground and put it beside this one, it would have to get bigger. It would seem like it gets bigger. Now, if I add in one here, this shows that third space that we talked about called the middle ground. So I'm going to make this one kind of medium sized compared to the other two. So you'll notice these, I haven't added leaves to it. Little kids, which we don't draw like little kids, you guys are drawing like young artists. They would draw like a rectangle and put a circle on top, and they would say that, you know, those are the leaves and everything. Well, if I add the leaves in there, I want to think about, I don't go around the trees counting how many leaves are on it, so I'm not going to draw one leaf at a time. Here I'm actually using another trick. So I'm putting this tree's kind of close to the middle ground because it's not quite as low as this one. It is a little bit closer than this one, but it's still in that middle ground space. But this one, the branches are overlapping the one in the background. So they're overlapping the one behind it. So back to talking about the leaves. If I want to add leaves in here, I want to think about, well, I'm going to draw a lot of leaves. So the way I'm going to draw the leaves, I would be drawing a lot at one time. So if I start out here, I'm kind of scribbling, but I'm overlapping those scribbles, putting them together, so they actually create the effect of a shape. I think this is why when we're little kids, we draw a round shape at the top of the tree, because when all these leaves are overlapping together, it is going to create the effect of one big round shape. So it looks like I'm scribbling, but if you look, I'm really being very intentional with it. And then when I place leaves on the next tree, maybe I decide to change colors. If they're different types of trees, maybe the colors of the leaves would be different. So kind of scribbling and creating a shape with it, but as they overlap, they look like the effect of a lot of leaves on the trees. Maybe this one's the same kind of tree this one is. So I'm going to add the leaves on there. When I get over here, I'm going to stop adding them because this tree is going to overlap that one. So maybe I go back to my purple here. So you're going to continue adding things into your landscape that would make sense. If things are smaller, it sort of gives you a way that you can think about different effects in there. So add some of your trees. If you want to put plants or other things in there that would make sense, add those in as well. And then in the next clip, I'll show you a trick for adding more stuff.